Welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Is it not on? Okay. I think it's on now. Everybody's quiet. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. We will have our student representative from Cabrillo, Viviana, lead us in the pledge.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We welcome those who are here for purposes of addressing the board at the proper time and in the order of their request. For those who have not already submitted a request, we have provided forms in the back of the room and also have additional copies here in the front at the Assistant Secretary's position. If you wish to speak during the meeting, please fill out a form indicating your name and the agenda item you wish to address. You may also make a request to give testimony on an item not listed for discussion today. However, full discussion on any items not listed on the agenda will have to be delayed until such a time as the item can be publicly posted in advance as a regular agenda item. If you wish to ask questions, please address them to the chair and not to individual members of the board or staff. The board has been meeting in closed session regarding matters listed on today's closed session agenda. And in closed session today, the board voted to approve a settlement agreement in a special education matter, providing consideration and a release. The vote was unanimous, with all 5 members participating in the vote. Okay, public hearing for special education service and budget plans. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Okay. Seeing none, I declare the hearing is closed. Okay, called for agenda items for separate action or adoption of the agenda as posted.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Approval of the minutes.
Move approval. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Communications. We have some retirees to recognize this evening. So when your name is called, we will have you come up to the podium, and then we have a resolution to read, and then you have an opportunity to say a few words and address the group. So we ask that you keep your comments brief and keep us all inspired, and we do and we do love hearing from everyone. Let us start with Ms. Kerr.
Good evening, everyone. Could Sean Hutchins please come forward?
See, that's inspiring.
That's
That's
right.
inspiring.
To the podium,
Yes.
please. You got your paparazzi there as well. I love it. Whereas Sean Hutchins is retiring after 17 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District, and whereas she has served the students of the district as a teacher at Franklin Middle School, and whereas she is a dedicated professional who creates powerful learning environments where students are challenged to think critically and perform at a high level, and she balances her high expectations with a caring demeanor. And whereas she is supportive of her colleagues and teachers gather in her classroom during conference period on a daily basis, where she shares valuable insights into language arts lessons and strategies to help students. And whereas with her commitment to students, quiet sense of humor, and strong sense of professionalism, she provided much to emulate and became an effective role model for both students and staff. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Shawn Hutchins for her significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students.
Wow. So to represent my family, I've invited some of my former and current staff members from Franklin. And I just really want to thank you guys, because without you for the past 17 years, your creativity has kept me on my toes and has kept me sane. And I love you and appreciate you all so much for that. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Williams.
Monica Blumenfield. It's really a pleasure to read Monica's resolution, because Monica worked with me over a number of years in building a number of students of color in AP in this very room where we had meetings every month for 3 years. So Monica, it's a pleasure to read your resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
I think somebody else wants to read this on. Whereas Monica Blumenfield is retiring after 34 years of dedicated services to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District, and whereas she has served the students of the district as a teacher and counselor at Coordinated Student Services, Student Placement Office, Poly Academy of Achievers and Leaders in Washington, Hughes, McBride, Keller, Bryant, Oropeza, Lincoln, Butler, Hamilton, Henry, and Stevenson schools, and whereas she is an outstanding educator who delivers carefully designed lessons, and her excellent rapport with children created classrooms where students engaged thoughtfully to meet the high expectations she set for them in both behavior and academic accomplishment. And whereas she is a consummate professional who has maintained a supportive environment where students are comfortable to share with her the details of their lives in ways that lead to effective means for addressing their needs and concerns, keeping students focused on their abilities as learners, and whereas she engages in mutual respectful communications with parents and staff, and her ability to provide appropriate interventions as needed has made her a strong supporter of both students who are navigating challenging times and the teachers who are helping those students to achieve their potential. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Monica Blumenfield for her significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your great work with our kids. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you for inviting me here this evening. I'm still in as much awe of my time with Long Beach Unified as I was all those years ago when I signed my contract over at 701 Locust Avenue, now the PE field for Oropesa Elementary. I began and ended my 34 years in the downtown area of Long Beach and covered many wonderful school sites as a bilingual classroom teacher and as a counselor. I began as a first grade teacher at Stevenson Elementary, and I'm closing out my career as the counselor at a most amazing school site that brings a smile to me every day. How lucky I am to finish out at Washington Middle School. Long Beach Unified is a small place when one considers how often we run into people we know, colleagues, parents, students, former students, at school sites. It's so nice to finish out my career working with one of my former fourth grade students from my first assignment as a bilingual teacher at Stevenson Elementary. A happy closing. Long Beach Unified is a small place. Chris and my sister Susanna were in the same graduating class at Wilson High School not so many years ago. Thank you to Ruth and her team for their incredible kindness and support during my cancer. It was an extremely difficult time, and I do appreciate your help during the rough spots. I'm clear, and I look forward to many things. I have travel plans, and I have some other activities to look forward to, but the most exciting things is that we're welcoming a new baby. September will be an exciting month. Thank you to all my Long Beach Unified School District teachers who were inspirations, beginning with my fifth grade teacher at Cubberley, Leona Presley. Her enthusiasm, amazing stories of the Western movement, her experiences of growing up in a rural setting, so very different from our experiences here in Long Beach, and those stories are still shared by Cubberley alumni who had her. I remained in touch with many of my teachers, and from time to time, I run into my former Marshall Junior High School teachers, Fanny Daly, Mar Bellamy, and Marshall Pell. Board members, thank you very much for all you do. Megan, thank you for your kind note. Felton, it was an honor to be on that AP committee with you. Thank you, Chris, and thank you for your incredible team. You always have a moment to say hi when I see you on weekends around town. You are right when you say we are a family, because I have felt it every day. I have wanted to be a teacher since I was a first grader at St. Cornelius. Thank you for the opportunity to work with the best students, best families, best colleagues, who many became a best friend. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer.
It's my pleasure to call Kathy Foreman Hitt forward, if you please. Where Kathy is retiring after 30 years of dedicated service to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District. And whereas she served the students of the district as a teacher and a teacher on special assignment for the Palms office, Deputy Superintendent's office, the Office of Curriculum, Instruction, Professional Development, and at Butler, Twain, Alvarado, Monroe, Tucker, Hart, and Riley schools. And whereas her teaching skills yield great results from students of all ages, helping young children and adults to reach their highest potential as they own their learning. And whereas her classroom and workshops are filled with a variety of materials, hands-on experiences, impromptu activities that generate enthusiasm for learning while conveying a fun-filled attitude. And whereas a mentor and master teacher, she's taught classes at Cal State Dominguez Hills, Cal State Long Beach, and conducted hundreds of hours of professional development training, and many of her adult students have expressed gratitude to her for improving their classroom skills or helping them to successfully begin their teaching careers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Kathy Forbin Hitt for her significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students.
Wait. And anybody that knows me, music follows me everywhere. So I have, just to say this first, none of you know that Chris and I came in the same day. We sat next to each other, this 9-month pregnant new teacher with Chris sitting right next to him in September 1981. And every day since, I have had the time of my life. So on that note, now I'm coming. You gotta walk up music. And thank you.
Okay. Dr. Benitez, can you follow that?
No. I actually thought she was going to start dancing with our superintendent.
We don't know.
So it's my great pleasure to call up Scott Peffers. So whereas Scott is retiring after 25 years of dedicated service to the students of Long Beach Unified School District, and whereas he has served the students of the district as a teacher at Wilson, Marshall, and Hoover schools, and whereas he is a dedicated and caring teacher who did whatever it took to lay the foundation for educating each child who attended his class, and he prepared them to meet their unique challenges and achieve their highest ability, and whereas he is highly organized and a thorough professional who closely monitors students during lessons to ensure comprehension, and has been commended for his positive outlook, energy, and enthusiasm to be the best teacher he can be. And whereas his collegial attitude about raising the performance of other teachers and school staff extends into team and department meetings, where his contributions are received well by others and have brought about even greater learning in his colleagues' classrooms. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District commends and expresses deep gratitude to Scott Peffers for his significant and lasting contributions to the education of thousands of students. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for your great work.
It's a great thing to be in the room.
I know. Thank you, Scott. Congratulations. There you go. Yeah, sorry about that.
So I had no idea that I was going to be speaking up here, but that's fine. Unlike my colleague from Franklin, I'm not sure that I'm either sane nor inspiring, and I certainly don't have the gift of that kind of stuff. But Woo, that's fun. I've really loved my time here. I had bookends of my career at Punahou School in Honolulu and then Wilson. Really good places to start and end. Those are two fabulous places. Wilson's been an inspiring place for me to be for 14 years. I taught music for 10 years, then music and math for 10 years, and now I've switched over to math because there's such a strong connection between the two of them. It's been a blessing to do that. And I want to give my gratitude to someone who's not here, Gary Graves. Gary was the principal over at Hoover when I was hired, and he was a friend, and he said, "Hey, Scott, there's a position. Do you want to come over?" So I'm very pleased that Gary was able to help me make this transition, and to the district that has really given such a strong dedication, has a strong dedication to the PD of its teachers. The professional development here is exceptional, and I've appreciated that. Lord knows I've needed it. And I sure appreciated having the connection with all the people here. I was, like you heard before, I was at Hoover, Marshall, and Wilson. Before that, I was in Santa Ana. And my kids went to Patrick Henry, too, which is an exceptional program here with its dual immersion program. In fact, my daughter is hoping to work in a dual immersion program as a bilingual psychologist or teacher. So this is that has been a district that has affected me in such a positive way, and my family too. And I hope that I've been part of God's blessing here. I know that God has blessed me tremendously, and I'm just grateful to have been a part of Long Beach Unified. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank all our retirees for their contributions, but also for being very inspirational. I don't know if we've had somebody who had their own walkout music and entertained us. We would love for you to stay for the entire meeting, or you can choose to take this opportunity to leave and celebrate with your friends and family. And we will continue on, and you can quietly slip out if you'd like. So we will move on to public testimony on items listed on the agenda, and I don't believe we have any listed on the agenda. Staff report, the Local Control and Accountability Plan, our LCAP, so I will ask Mr. Robert Tagorder to come up.
Board President Greg, members of the board, executive staff, and members of the community. As always, it's a privilege and an honor for me to provide this update on our local control and accountability planning process. Today, focusing specifically on recommendations that stakeholders are developing on behalf of the Board of Education. You might recall that last month on April 15, we released the initial draft of our LCAP. It's available in English, Spanish, and Khmer at lbschools.net. It can be found by clicking on local control, which you can see displayed on the television set here. It's made available there for any member of the public to review. The next iteration of the draft will be released tomorrow. Since the time that we had our first conversation about the draft LCAP, we've submitted for review to the Los Angeles County Office of Education, which conducted an initial and preliminary review of our document. All signs are positive. They gave us some great feedback. We've incorporated that feedback into the draft that's being released tomorrow. We've also met with community groups who have been partners with us every step of this way. They've also provided us with a lot of great feedback, which we've tried to incorporate into the plan. But again, tomorrow's release is going to be just the next step toward what we're ultimately going to present to the Board of Education in June. And that draft is going to be released tomorrow, will be there by the end of the day. It will include some updated data that were not available when we had our first release last month. Additional information on how the district supports schools with the highest needs, and changes based on feedback from LACO. You'll note that the latest draft is highlighted in blue. So everything that was released last month is highlighted in yellow. This month's draft is going to be highlighted in blue. Just makes it easier for all stakeholders who are viewing the document. Last month as well, the superintendent indicated that we had collected a series of recommendations from stakeholder groups, which we would then use to help prioritize for the board in the event that resources become available to the district. And these recommendations were developed through a series of meetings throughout the school year. The following 4 images actually help to highlight what this process has looked like for us. So first, there's learning done by our stakeholder groups, usually with district staff who are experts in the area, who can explain how programs work or what the data may show. So in this particular slide, it's from our District Community Advisory Committee. Our Assistant Director for Equity Access and College and Career Readiness, James Suarez, was facilitating discussion around some programs and interventions that the district had been providing through both the LCAP and Title I, and gave an opportunity to stakeholders to learn more about the district programs. Thereafter, what would typically happen is that stakeholders would have an opportunity to process their learnings, to discuss them, and ultimately to generate actionable recommendations that would be presented to the board. So in this particular case, we have a snapshot from the Local Control and Accountability Plan Advisory Committee, in which they were processing discussions that we've had around family resource centers, Saturday schools, various programs funded by the LCAP, and in order to try to generate additional dialogue as well as figure out what recommendations might be presented. And then the district would collect all of these recommendations throughout all of the committees that we have in our district. And the superintendent reviewed them and compiled them into a single document. And this is a document that you have in front of you. It's also available in the back for members of the public. But basically, it allows all of our stakeholders throughout the entire system to review the collective recommendations and determine what priorities should come from those recommendations. And you'll see why it's important for us to prioritize that later on when you see how long the list is. But basically what we did was we gave each participant 5 votes or dots. They could use them all in one recommendation if they feel very passionately about one idea. They can spread them out across 5 different recommendations. They could do something in between. But it's one way for us to try to understand the overall sentiment that stakeholders had individually and collectively as it related to these recommendations. And you see here an example from our District English Learner Advisory Committee in which they're actually putting their dots and voting for specific recommendations. And then lastly, after that, our stakeholders get an opportunity to rotate around the room to see what all of the other participants had voted on. This gave them an opportunity to get holistic understanding of where there might be some patterns or trends. And then a facilitator from the district would collect the data from each committee, compile them, aggregate them, tally them, present them to the superintendent, who then reviewed them before we created the last document that you're going to see. And that document looks like this. Members of the board, again, and exec staff, members of the public have this document in English, Spanish, and Khmer available in the back. And I just want to go through sort of a big picture overview of what this document looks like, because we're not going to be able to go through everything. But one way to orient yourself around this is that there are 5 pages here, 5 pages of recommendations, so you can see those 5 pages as I'm scrolling through these slides. They are associated with each page of this 5-page document. There are 46 total recommendations that we had gathered from the District Community Advisory Committee, the District English Learner Advisory Committee, the Superintendent Parent Forum, our community forums, all of the committees that have been involved in this process throughout the course of the year. There are 8 sections It's one way for us to try to categorize these recommendations into something more palatable, but admittedly, there are a variety of different recommendations that can cut across multiple categories, so just keep that caveat in mind. But basically, the 8 sections are extracurricular activities, student supports, parent supports, intervention programs, personnel, summer programs, college and career programs, and teacher supports. So again, that just gives us a sense, a general sense of what the recommendations might fall under. But what we did was we tallied the dots for all of the committee processes, then combined them. You can see that here. If you go down column by column by column, each of the committee's votes are tallied. The only one that's missing right now is the one from our coalition to involve African American parents, and that's because they're meeting at the end of the month to engage in this activity. So please treat this particular document as a work in progress. But I can share with you where we currently stand as it relates to the counts. So at the moment, again, with the caveat that the numbers may change because the CIAAP group still needs to participate in this work. We've identified 5 priorities, so to speak, or 5 recommendations that seem to generate the most interest. And I'll go through them one by one with a reference to where they are located on the document and just a little bit of contextual information as to what qualitatively our stakeholders have been expressing to us. The first, you'll see it on the very first page, number 5, after-school enrichment programs / computer technology. These are after-school enrichment programs such as foreign language, coding, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics programs, art and music, college and career workshops, getting to know and understand future careers. Mind you, even though it states after-school enrichment programs, it's really any kind of program that serves as an enrichment that can take place when it's not the regular school day. So it could take place before school, after school, during intercession, during the summer. That's the spirit of this particular recommendation. That generated 68 dots throughout the committees that have participated in this exercise thus far. The second is in page 3, number 27, social emotional development programs. The recommendations to continue to explore programs at sites that address social emotional development and well-being of students, including English learners, special education students, and all students, in fact. There's a lot of sentiment around the need to address the anxiety that students experience, equipping them with coping skills. In fact, we had last week a series of parent university workshops that focused on mental health and anxiety, and it was attended by over 70 families coming from 37 different schools in a series of 3 workshops. So that indicates to us the degree to which that's an issue for a lot of stakeholders, and you'll see something akin to that as we look at some of the ensuing recommendations as well. The next recommendation is on page 1. This is the 3rd ranked recommendation, number 9. It falls under the category Real Life Economics. Course is focused on financial literacy, i.e. bank accounts, credit and interest, debt to income ratio, etc. The spirit of this particular recommendation is sort of a combination of life skills and career readiness. So how do we take and apply what our students are learning in math and economics and making it real for them so that they can activate it during the course not only of their careers but also just in their life in general. So again, the idea of putting in practice something that they're learning in their classrooms. The 4th falls under the personnel category, and it's on page 4. You see it highlighted here, number 37, school psychologists. full-time mental health professionals, school psychologists, counselors, outside agencies such as social workers, for additional social emotional support. So again, you see this pattern that relates to number 2 around social emotional learning and development. You can see those two recommendations as being closely linked with one another. The social emotional development one being the subject, this one relating to the services that stakeholders seem to be looking for. And then the 5th recommendation, going back to page 1, again, under number 6, is trade school pathways versus academic pathways, benefits being employment direction for non-college bound students. It's effectively just an endorsement of career readiness for the district. You can view that very closely akin to that real-life economics one. Many of the individuals who voted for the real-life economics one also cast votes around the trade school pathway recommendation. Again, something that is career readiness that gets to the idea of preparing students for the workforce. So those are the top 5 thus far. I wouldn't be too fixated in rank order because they could change depending on how other stakeholder groups engage in this exercise. Many of them are within 1 or 2 dots of one another. I think it's critical for the district to look and examine what the overall sentiment of these recommendations are and look for patterns along the way. I can tell you, for example, the 3 other recommendations that come after the 5th, because they're all pretty close to that last one. The number 6 would be security and safety resources. Number 7 is parent education or parent university, so a lot of parent workshops and parent trainings. And 8th is bilingual support. So they're all kind of within close range of the 5th ranked item there and could change at any given point in time depending on how other groups go through this exercise. Thus far, there are 900 dots, so to speak, collected. So the top one represents roughly 8%. So that gives you kind of just a sense of where that lands. There's a lot of distribution among the recommendations, as you can imagine, when you have 46 different options. Some have also written in some of their own recommendations, a couple that indicated something around early learning and early learning supports for students 0 to 5 years of age. So that's yet another item for the board to consider. But that concludes this brief report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have thus far, but it's been a fantastic experience for our stakeholders, and I want to spend a quick moment right now to thank all of our committees for participating and engaging in this work throughout the course of the year. They've been phenomenal. All of our parents, our community partners, our teachers, administrators, district staff, and business partners. Every step of the way, they've been very supportive of the work that the board has been leading. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Robert, I want to personally commend you and James Suarez for your efforts and work in facilitating this work and just bringing all of this to fruition. You guys did an amazing job as part of this whole process. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Benitez?
Yeah, thank you, Robert, for putting this together. So just some process questions. So each participant at one of the 6 meetings, because the African-American parent meeting isn't included, received 5 votes or 5 dots or 5
Correct.
stickers?
Yes.
Do we have the total number of participants that participated across the 6 meetings?
It's 900. Well, no, I don't have the participants, but we can. I suppose we can back calculate 900 total dots so far.
Okay,
So if we look
divide
at,
that by 5?
yeah.
Okay,
so-
roughly that would
so
give us.
roughly that.
Okay, and then will there be any other opportunities between now and next month for folks to provide input and/or be involved?
Yeah, there are. We have our CIAAP meeting, of course. We have. At any given point in time, if any group wants to meet with me or meet with James, we were more than happy to do that. For example, there were some groups, the NAACP, for example, I had a meeting with them. They couldn't attend the meeting that we had on Monday. So I met separately with them to ensure that we gathered feedback. So the representative from the NAACP's sentiments are covered here.
Great.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can,
Thank you.
no problem.
Okay, do we have any other questions or comments for Robert? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alrighty, public testimony on items not listed on the agenda. We have 3, so we will start with Griselda Suarez.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, board, school members, and staff and guests. My name is Griselda Suarez. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council for Long Beach, and it's a pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit about arts education. At the Arts Council, we are an arts advocate and an arts funder, and it is our mission to foster creativity and culture in our city and enliven communities through those arts practices and engagements. This past year, the Arts Council served over 2,500 youth in Long Beach Unified, and with our grantees as an arts funder with the support of the City of Long Beach, our grantees served over 76,000 students in Long Beach Unified. And we continue to partner with many nonprofits and the university to also serve high school students and college students through our internship program. We're looking forward to creating more partnerships for our middle school programs and be able to also offer arts engagements that students have a connection to the arts in their city. This past year, Arts Council hired over 25 artists to be in the schools and offer education through the elementary school level. We also partner with Stevenson Elementary on a pilot program for early arts education with Nika Rumion at Stevenson. We are committed to furthering the development of arts education in the city of Long Beach, and the reason why I'm here today is because we are partnering with the county on an initiative. The Arts Council is a partner with the LA County Arts Commission and the LA County Arts Education Collective, and I serve as an advisor to the LA County Board of Supervisors on various issues, particularly cultural equity and inclusion. And in 2016, there was a town hall here in Long Beach where we had over 120 residents show up to talk about cultural equity and inclusion. Many of our Long Beach parents and artists then went on to work in work groups to finally present an initiative on cultural equity, and now we're doing the same thing. We are now doing a town hall on arts education on June 10th at the Long Beach City College campus on PCH, and we would like to invite you as school board members and also guests, and we'll be promoting it to teachers and parents and students. And this new initiative is all about looking at arts education not only as an arts issue or as an education issue, but also as an economic and community wellness issue in order to really expand the skills for our students and really give them a well-rounded education. So with that, you have some information that has been given to you. I hope to see you there. And I look forward to also working with our partner, Christine Whipp, who's the arts curriculum specialist that we've been working with so that we can invite more people to this meeting. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to ask up Amy Erickson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Amy Erickson. I'm a lifelong resident of the District 4, Long Beach schools, even before we had District 4. I also went to Twain, to Mann, to Hughes, and off to Wilson and Pauley back when we could do that thing. And my educational or arts education career was really cemented with Naomi Norwick at Hughes. And sadly, I put together her retirement a few years ago. But that got me into the job I'm in today. I'm the executive director of Angels Gate Cultural Center, and this is kind of a 1-2 punch today because we really want to make sure that you understand how important this forum is. LACO does very good work in arts education, so does LA County Arts Commission, so does the district. One of the reasons that I started in activism and advocacy was because this district sometimes wanted to make music go away, and we fought to keep it here, and we have an amazing music program because of that work. And so it's very important that we give that to everyone in the whole county, but also to forward the ideas that you have here in Long Beach to the county and move arts education into a platform that has a real life history that moves people from people that like art to arts advocates. And so it's really important to us that you all are a part of these forums. That you have a paper in your packet that we gave out to you. We gave you a lot of pieces of paper. Thank you, Leticia. And this one has all of the dates. There's 10 of them. Actually, there's now 12 of them across the county. The closest one, of course, is here on June 10th, but there's one at Lawndale, in Lawndale on June 6th as well. And we would hope that the call to action today would be to ask you to share this with the principals, and then I know some really amazing principals that are even just here in this room that will then share it with their teachers and the students and the parents. Most of these kinds of forums happen during the day at 2 o'clock at the LACO office, and none of us can get there, even if that's my job sometimes. So it's really important that we've pushed to make most of these happen at night or on a Saturday morning, so the parents and the students can get out and get involved in this process as much as they can. So I really appreciate if you could share that. If there's any way that I need to help with that, I'm happy to do that. While I have the floor for 30 more seconds, I'm gonna just say one last thing that I know I never played under Andy Osmond at Poly, but I played under him everywhere else. And he was the guy who gave me my first job here in Long Beach Unified. And it's very important to me that I say, I hope in the next few weeks you will vote to turn that Poly auditorium into the Osmond auditorium, which I believe is today. And it's very important to all of his students that are all over my Facebook from years and years ago that happens. I used to play in the Furjanic Hall at Wilson, and it's very important that we move this legacy forward. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Ramona Burton.
Good evening, your honorable board members. After the recent school shootings and school violence, I was just compelled within myself to come back here and make another humble plea. You know, I thought, you know, what would make a student go to school and shoot up other classmates, and these are students that we kind of would consider students of promise. They had a lot of potential, and the student could only conclude that my reason for feeling so much pain as a young person who hasn't even started out life yet is that F society. And it makes me wonder who ignored this student? Who didn't pay attention or listen to this student before this student went and expressed their pain and their hurt in such a horrible way? What adult came across that student and ignored him, didn't pay attention to him? So once again, I'm here to make a humble plea that you have a dangerous person working in the school system. And I gave you some information, Ms. Craighead and Ms. Kerr, that is very concerning. When I discovered that this person had a dual identity and there were other things that were concerning about this individual, it's true, okay? When I discovered that he's not who he says he is, also within that same document, it was some other very concerning things. Now, who's not gonna pay attention? Who's gonna ignore this? while others continue to suffer because we don't have a safe environment. I'm thinking, along the line of the big college scandals. Do you know this involves educators, school administrators, school leadership? And it's not right. If we don't continue to do something and be proactive in keeping our schools safe, we're going to continue to lose lives. As the man who spoke earlier about the social development of our students and the anxiety level, it's real. They are afraid, and rightfully so, they are afraid. But how many times do those same students go to administrators and they're ignored? Their concerns is not taken as serious as important. We can't afford to keep losing lives and for people to be hurt when it's so unnecessary and we can avoid it. This is a very serious concern. I appreciate your time. I don't want to go overboard. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, business items, personnel, Dr. Williams.
Yes, Madam Chair. I have the personnel report prepared by our Deputy Superintendent of Education Services, Ruth Ashley, and approved by our Superintendent, Chris Steinhauser. I will read the classified portion of the report first and the certificated portion after. There were 64 appointments, 6 leaves of absence, 1 termination of service, 9 resignations, 6 retirements, and 2 rescissions. On the certificated side, there were 26 appointments, 5 in-service changes, 4 leaves of absence, 39 release of long-term substitute employees, 7 retirements, and move approval.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Instruction.
Move approval.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Superintendent, could you go over with us the process that we use for our single plans for student achievement? I've noticed that over the course of the academic calendar, we get a few at a time, so I'm wondering sort of what our process is and what we're looking to get out of these plans.
Yes, and so the single plan for student achievement is the guiding document for the schools on how they're going to close the achievement gap and how they're going to use their categorical monies as you individuals give them. So throughout the school year, our schools work with James Suarez and Robert Tergorda and others in that department to make sure that the school is meeting all the compliance requirements. And if they're not, what kind of support do they need? So for example, a school site council may be struggling on how to spend their money. Or there might be a site council where some of the members have dropped off and now they don't have a quorum. So legally they cannot move forward with anything they haven't approved already. Or there may be concerns that they're not meeting all the legally mandated separate areas. So they're approved at the site council, they're submitted to the to James and others in the office, and then they're given feedback to make sure that they're correct. So you'll see these throughout the school year. They'll see them come in big chunks of time. And what happens is, like, so for example, you'll see here, once it's approved, it actually has carryover to the next year because it's a continuous improvement process. And this is where every year we have site council members go for the training on how to learn to use these and so on.
Okay, thank you. So there isn't a fixed deadline for all of them to submit by
Well,
a certain
there's
time?
no exact, well, let me back up. We would hope they would all submit as early as possible, but in some cases it doesn't happen. So in some cases, we've had to actually say to schools that you cannot spend any additional money until you see these things in place.
Right, okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance Report A.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Finance Report B.
Move approval.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I recuse myself from participation in the Finance Report B on the consent calendar. I have a potential financial interest under Government Code 109.1 and 87100. My husband works for a subcontractor who has done work for the payees.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 4-0 with an abstention. Yeah. Business Department report.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Purchasing and Contracts Report A.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Purchasing and Contract Report B.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I recuse myself from participation in the Purchasing and Contract Report B on the consent calendar. I have a potential financial interest under Government Code 109.1 and 87100. My husband works for a subcontractor who has done work for the contractor.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 4-0 with one abstaining. Superintendent items.
Yes, Madam President and members of the board, we have 4 expulsions, and so I'll take them one at a time. The first student is student 173. The student would be expelled under Education Codes 48915C3. And would not be eligible to apply for readmission until after the end of the spring semester of 2018-19. However, Student Placement Services has made the recommendation that the student be expelled with a consideration for suspended expulsion and with an opportunity to attend our GOC program.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
Next, we have student 946. This student would be expelled under Education Codes 48900.4 and would not be eligible to apply for readmission until after the end of the fall semester of 2019-20. However, Students Placement Services has made the recommendation that this student be expelled with a consideration for suspended expulsion and have an opportunity to attend the RGOC program.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
The third student is student 392. This student would be expelled under Education Codes 4895N2 and 4895C2 and would not be eligible to apply for readmission until after the end of the fall semester in 2019-20. However, Student Placement Services has made the recommendation that this student be expelled with a consideration for suspended expulsion and an opportunity to attend our GOC program.
Move approval?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
And the last student is student 720. This student would be expelled under Education Codes 48915C1 and 48915A3 and would not be allowed to apply for readmission to the school district.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0.
Next, we have administrative assignments. Staff is recommending that Tom Malkus, a retired director with the school district, serve as acting principal at Oropeza.
Move approval.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Unfinished business, we have none. New business, Resolution 051419-A, supporting classified employee week.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? I should have asked somebody if they'd like to read that.
You want me to read it?
Okay, that'd be great.
We can each read one line, Madam President.
Back and forth.
In the interest of time,
We have
I
the
think we'll have
personnel
Ms. Kerr
director
read
here.
that.
I mean, Director of Personnel is here. Read it.
Oh, Ms. Kerr, yes.
Okay.
She's got it handy.
Whereas an informed, educated citizenry is the foundation for the success of our democracy, our economy, and America's future. And whereas classified employees often operating largely in the background and out of the limelight, provide essential support and contribute immeasurably to quality educational programs for our children, youth, and adults, touching the lives of so many individuals with a profound and lasting effect. And whereas dedicated classified employees display a deep commitment to our public schools, helping to create an environment where students' ideas and dreams can grow and begin to take flight. And whereas the Long Beach Unified School District is one of the world's leading systems, thanks in large part to classified employees who serve thousands of students in Long Beach, Lakewood, Signal Hill, and Avalon. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Long Beach Unified School District hereby proclaims May 19th through 25th as Classified School Employee Week and urges everyone to express their deep gratitude to all classified employees for their vital services to the students of the Long Beach Unified School District.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Well, on the 24th of May, we certainly celebrate our classified folks at a luncheon barbecue at the Teacher Resource Center. We all look forward to that. That's always a big fun event.
You're right, that is a big fun event. And as stated in that resolution, a lot of times our classified employees are the ones that are behind the scenes making everything work.
That's right.
And it is wonderful to be able to honor those folks.
I'd like to add a personal anecdote, if I may,
Okay.
President. So for the first couple of years of my life, English was not my first language, and the school that I attended, my elementary school, didn't have any staff that spoke Spanish, but we had 2 classified staffs that spoke Spanish. So my first 2 years of education, kindergarten, first grade, were shaped literally, my positive educational experience by 2 classified staff at Parkview Elementary School in Chula Vista. So I have a personal sort of connection to the impact that our classified employees have,
Yeah.
both in and out of the classroom.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story, and I think that just, exemplifies the fact that we rely on everybody. Whether they're behind the scenes or right up front, we rely on everybody. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Naming of existing school building, Poly High School Auditorium.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion?
I would love to say a few words about Andy Osmond, who was one of my children's music teachers at Poly. I think Amy did a great job in her comments earlier about that our music community in Long Beach is heavily shaped by Mr. Osmond and the work that he's done in our schools for 36 years. So I am thrilled that we are doing this, and we are doing this today so that we can celebrate together the amazing impact that he's had on students across our city and our region.
Fabulous. Dr. Williams, did you have something to share? Okay, it's always wonderful when we can honor somebody in this way. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Resolution 051419-B, renewal of the charter petition for Clear Passage Educational Center.
Move approval?
Second.
Discussion?
Just a quick question. Now that we're renewing this, when are we going to have an update from Clear Passage?
We've actually received, the charter petition renewal is the update, and then we will get annual updates on assessments.
Annually? Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 5-0. Report of board members. Viviana, we will start with you.
Good evening. My name is Viviana Ibarra, and I'm the ASB Student Council President at Cabrillo High School. I'm excited to be back here tonight to share with our district leadership and the community some of the exceptional things happening at our school. There's so much to share that I can go on for hours, but I promise to keep it short and just give you a snapshot of how Cabrillo students and staff are finding success in the West. Thank you. First, our boys varsity soccer team and co-ed varsity badminton team faced challenging opponents throughout their seasons and ended the year with multiple victories. Our soccer team fought through a long and tough season to bring home the boys D2 state regional championship title for the first time in school and district history. Also, badminton won the Morley Championship for the second year in a row, also a first for Cabrillo. Both of these programs are leading the charge as all of our Jaguar athletics programs are continuing to build and find success through hard work, sportsmanship, and growth mindset. In activities, it has been a jam-packed year with several events and initiatives designed to further build community across campus. From record-breaking attendance at Winter Formal in our City Hawkins dance to a successful blood drive in partnership with Caesars, and a jam-packed intercultural fair which showcased 10 performances from multiple student clubs. Not to mention our very own vice principal, Miss Alexander, who did an excellent job dancing with the Pacific Islander Club in front of the entire school. In academic news, we are proud to announce that the Cabrillo Academy of Law and Justice, CalJ, received the Link Learning Gold certification in March. This is the first pathway at Cabrillo to receive certification, and we are proud of our staff and students. Also, the Cabrillo Engineering and Design Pathway, CED, recently took third place at the state finals for its Chevron Design Challenge. Furthermore, our school received a 6-year clearance accreditation from our WASP-Visiting Committee in the spring, validating all of our hard work. As we end the 2018-19 school year, we have some awesome projects in the works to look out for over the summer and in the fall. We will once again showcase our #CollegeBound Jacks from the class of 2019 with banners going up all over the west side in late July. Also, come and check out our new library and College Career Center murals that will be completed this week. Lastly, we are currently working on finalizing the details for Cabrillo Closet, which will be a boutique on campus that will provide any of our students in need with free clothing and toiletries on an ongoing basis. It has been a fast-paced and amazing school year at Cabrillo, as we continue to provide all of our students with success in the West. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. And talking about College Bound, what are your plans? You're a senior, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm planning to go to Cal State Long Beach.
very good. Taking advantage of that college promise.
Yes.
I like it.
definitely.
Okay, well, very good. Mr. Meyer?
Well, thank you very much. You know, as board members, we don't get to interact directly with students as much as when we were teachers, and that's the real joy in education. But on Saturday, May 4th, several of us had that opportunity to interview students as part of our prospective mentorship program, Operation Call, out at Beach High School. And I need to tell you, those young students are so poised, so wonderfully intelligent, well-dressed. It just knocks you away. I wanted to give everyone a perfect score, but of course you can't do that. So only a few of them got perfect scores. But anyway, it was very enjoyable. And secondly, I want to give a shout out to Shanna Doherty, a student at Lakewood High School, who in collaboration with her inspiration from her history teacher, Chris Murphy, has written a book focusing on Generation Z. And she's encouraging young folks to get with it, join the political discussion, and become active. And she's not only written a book, now she's started a publishing company. So nice going, Shanana and Chris Murphy, the teacher at Lakewood High School, for their good work.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, Dr. Benitez.
Yeah, I'm just going to add a little more information about these Long Beach Call interviews. So I'm going to make a pitch. So we have many more students interested in doing summer internships than we have opportunities. I would urge our community members, our business community, organizations, nonprofits, to inquire with us so that we can provide more students those valuable opportunities. So thanks, Mr. Meyer, for plugging that. And then second, I'm going to make a second pitch here. So we have a very successful ethnic studies initiative here at our district. So a few of my colleagues were there this past Saturday for the 4th annual conference celebrating our ethnic studies student initiative. And my plug is this, ethnic studies, yes, it's a feel-good set of classes. We get in touch with our cultural heritage, you learn about others. But I think we really want to emphasize that there's content knowledge that's unique to ethnic studies courses. There's skill sets that are uniquely strengthened and developed in ethnic studies courses. And just as important, there are values that are upheld through ethnic studies around social justice and equity. Ethnic studies didn't come about at the universities that we currently have them at because the university decided one day we're going to offer ethnic studies courses. No, totally the contrary. It came to be because of student action and community action, really pushing universities to offer these courses. So to see all the students in our district, and there were 2 other districts there, right, Mr. Superintendent, on Saturdays taking these courses is a testament to the importance, one, that these courses have, particularly when you're receiving college credit for them, but 2, that there's still some work for us to do. So really, I envision the day where this becomes part of our standard curriculum across the state, right, where we're not necessarily, downing having the opportunity on Saturdays, but it takes a special student really to go to school on a Saturday to take an ethnic studies course. So I really want to just reaffirm the commitment that we have as a district to providing these opportunities to students, and maybe someday soon this will be part of our regular curriculum across the state here in California. So thank you to the partnership, and thank you for our district for really leading the way in providing these ethnic studies opportunities for our students.
Thank you. Ms. Kerr.
Yes. Actually have several items. I try to keep it brief, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. It was an honor this week to celebrate with the Cal State Long Beach Alumni Association at their foundation, honoring my predecessor, Mary Stanton, for her contributions to education. So she was the outstanding alumni for the Department of Education. So surrounded by lots of family and colleagues from the district. It was a lovely night to celebrate the contributions that have impacted really generations of students across our area. So congratulations again to Ms. Stanton for that. I know Dr. Williams is going to speak about the morning at USC for Innovate Public Schools and the recognition of our schools on their important work around closing the achievement gap, so I will let him speak more to that. But congratulations to those 13 schools who were recognized, and for Dr. Baker for presenting some of the work that we're doing in Long Beach and really recommitting ourselves to making sure that we have twice as many schools there next year in that recognition. I was able to go on my lunch break the other day to Garfield Elementary School to see a choreographed production of The Wiz in partnership with Angels Gate Artist Residency, and Ms. Erickson, who is the director of that program, was here earlier today. To Ms. Fieri at Garfield and Ms. Shantae Robinson, who was their choreographer, and all of those second graders who worked very hard on their dancing. It was delightful, and it was a packed auditorium. And just an update, so I gave a small rant last time about driver safety, had been talking with community members and their concern about how folks are driving around all of our schools at drop-off and pick-up. And I had come from a meeting earlier, and I was being shown videos, and the concern came from the idea that somebody's going to get hurt. And sure enough, 2 days after that board meeting, a child at that school was hit because they were dropped off on one side of the street and went around the car and ran to the side and got hit by an unsuspecting person because they weren't looking for a little person. So the child is okay, but emergency services came as well. So I will continue that plea to, it matters, and our neighbors are noticing and our teachers are noticing, and we can't always have teachers and administrators out there policing the sidewalk. They have other things that they're doing to prepare kids for their day. So again, drop off and pick up, please be better about how we're driving around there.
Thank you. Dr. Williams.
Yes, Madam Chair. I will comment on the program at USC, which was fantastic. But first, before I do that, I want to just talk about a project, a process actually at Washington Middle School. I had basically heard this buzz about the student achievement at Washington Middle School, and I was a little curious, but I wanted to first make sure that what I was hearing was correct. So I asked Dr. Lund to get the data to me, and very impressive looking at that data. And once I got the data, then I called the principal, Megan Traver, and asked Megan if she could put me on her agenda for her meeting with her teachers. Now, this is something that I used to normally do when I first came on the board, and periodically met with a number of schools over the years, and met with teachers and basically had conversations with them about the academic achievement of their students, if they needed any resources or what did they need to do their work. And I kind of got away from that, so there's another opportunity for me to get back to it. And I didn't tell Megan why I wanted her to add me to the agenda. And I know she wanted to know, but I didn't want her to, I wanted to surprise her. So when I got there, I had called Councilwoman Lena Gonzalez's office as well. And, you know, Lena wanted to be there, but she had to be out of town. She did send a representative. So the representative walks in, and Ms. Traver looks up and sees him as well, and just wondering, what the hell are those people doing at my staff meeting? And I said to him, don't let this out, just keep it quiet. Megan walked over and asked if I could just, that she would call me up to present later on during the meeting, and I'm so glad she did. Because I had a chance to watch an amazing process take place as I was sitting there. And here were all the teachers who had a bit of everything that was going on in that school: Science and Technology Committee, Math Committee, the Safety Committee. All the committees reported. And there was something that I saw in that interaction with all these reports taking place, something that was very amazing. I saw a lot of commitment and synergy in that room being orchestrated by Megan. And it was contagious watching that. I saw a lot of teachers on the same page, and all of a sudden I realized why that school was being so successful. Got to understand, that school is located in about a 90% poverty district, but yet they were making major gains in a lot of areas. And I want to read some of the data that I received from Chris about Washington Middle School. 3 straight years of gains on SBAC ELA achievement, from 19% met exceeded standards to 37%. The 18% improvement was the largest 3-year gain among all middle schools. 3 straight years of above target growth on SBAC ELA. 3 straight years of above target growth on SBAC ELA. 3 straight years of gains on SBAC math achievement, from 15% met exceeded standards to 42%. The 27% improvement is the largest 3-year gain in achievement among all middle schools. The only middle school to have 3 years of gain in achievement and growth in both ELA and math. 2 straight years of decrease in chronic absenteeism, from 15% to 12% overall. The only middle school with 100% of teachers using scale grading, decreasing the DF rate for semester from 15% last year to 6% this year. Chris, thank you for the data. And, you know, having sat in on that meeting, as I said, I began to understand why these students were achieving. You had teachers who were all on the same page. And these teachers were collaborating at an unbelievable rate. When they gave a report, the next step was following up on that report and then coming back again and continuing this process repeatedly over and over. So the point of my visit was I wanted to support those efforts, and I wanted to see those efforts continue to move in that direction. And I presented Megan and her staff with a certificate of appreciation, just basically saying how much I appreciated the efforts of Washington Middle School and moving the academic needle of those students from where they were to where they are now, and seeing that process continue. But it also says something larger. It says, if you do certain things to students, you will see positive results. One is respect the students. And they need to know that. Students need to know that they're being respected. 2, set standards, high standards for those students. And then 3, monitor the results. And you really can see some positive things begin to happen. I think back to a comment from our good school board member from LA Unified who spoke at one of our conferences. They made a movie about him and his achievement with students of color. And in his presentation, he said, you know, I appreciate the fact that they made a movie, but what we did should be the rule and not the exception. In other words, all students have that ability to do well. They all do. But you got to have the right environment for those students to know that. And being able to see that in a school that's heavily impacted economically and socially makes a great statement. But, you know, what we've been able to witness not only there but in other places over time are similar results. And the students do perform if they're held accountable and if you believe that they can perform. That happens with any student. So we have Megan and some of her teachers here I see out in the audience. I just want you to stand so we can say thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the nice note that you sent to me, thanking me and basically expressing some of the sentiments of your teachers to my visit. I appreciate it. And Lena Gonzalez, the councilwoman, did say that while she was unable to attend, she wrote that she's been watching you and your work has been a leading force of change for both teachers and students and the community, and that she would love to formally recognize you at the City Council for all of your amazing work at Washington Middle School. So congratulations again. USC Celebrates was very special, being there and watching all of our schools being recognized. And the featured part of that was a video of what school am I looking for here? Signal Hill. Signal Hill was featured. And out of all the schools that were in attendance there, to see Signal Hill Elementary School highlighted and spotlighted was truly impressive and very heartwarming. There was a featured speaker there who really brought it all together and talking about what were the things that made a difference. And those were the things that I just mentioned about Washington Middle School. The same factors came up in that discussion about what makes a difference in student achievement. And to see the achievement level at Signal Hill Elementary School was impressive. Again, establishing high standards for success and holding the students accountable. And, you know, given the racial climate that we're in as a nation and as society, being able to demonstrate that kind of respect for kids, it really comes through. That they are really all part of what goes on around them each and every day. And being able to share with them that you respect them, that you know that they can learn, and that you can hold them accountable to it, makes a tremendous difference. At the breakout sessions that we attended, Dr. Baker and one of our school principals, Sophia Griffith from Muir, actually added to the mystique about Long Beach Unified and why we are a successful school district. Discussing the various kinds of processes that we have in place to make sure that our teachers get the training that they need, to do some of the more advanced work, the nitty-gritty stuff, to make sure that our students are respected. And Dr. Baker, I want to just compliment you and on your presentation. It was outstanding. She mentioned all the pieces that had to come together for this to happen, including our school board, how our school board members will visit our schools and really support the efforts that are going on in our schools. Basically just shared with the audience the difficult work that has to be in place to get the kind of results that we get as a district. The enthusiasm for that presentation was readily apparent as people approached us and asked us about Long Beach Unified. Wanting to visit, I spoke to about 2 or 3 superintendents who were in that session who, basically wanted to know more about how we work here at Long Beach. So, again, to Jill, to Sophia, and to all the teachers that are in this district, my hat's off to all of you for the wonderful work you do in lifting the challenges for equity in our district. Thank you all very much. That's my presentation.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. I have a couple of quick things. At Wilson, the Long Beach Blues Society paid a visit, and this is a program to teach the basics of blues to kids. As far as without the blues, we wouldn't have modern music like, rap, hip hop, other forms of music, and it's presented in such a fun way. So Mr. Bill Grisolia, he does this presentation, and it's not just about talking about music, but the music is being performed on stage. And there were 2 different presentations, and one, they invited some of the Wilson students to come up on stage. And at one point during one of the performances, they had a band of musicians that had never played together, and they had never even rehearsed together. But they played this song, and you would never have known that they didn't come together beforehand to play. There's this one musician, his name is Bernie Pearl. He's been playing the blues for many years, and he is so talented. And he was explaining how the blues came about at a time when it was kind of like a one-man band. And so instead of having a drummer to set the beat, that's why you see, a musician using their feet, and that's like the drum beat, and different things like that. And the kids enjoyed that presentation so much. So I have seen that presentation at Wilson and at Poly, and I know the presentation has been at Renaissance, but I'm encouraging other high school principals to contact Bill Grisolia from the Long Beach Blues Society and get that presentation. Actually, you don't even have to be a high school. Middle school, it's a fantastic presentation. It's not just the history of blues, but it's a whole appreciation for music in general. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Robo Bowl. That was on May the 4th. I remember because it was May the 4th be with you. And that was a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. I do want to thank everybody that made that possible. Tincher came in first, Keller second, Hughes third, Hoover fourth, with an engineering award for Hamilton and a spirit award for Cubberley. I had an opportunity to walk around the different teams of, our robotic engineers, and it seems like nothing goes smoothly, either with, last minute technical difficulties or whatever it is, but these teams of kids have to overcome that, and they have to develop solutions. So it's not just about the robotics or the engineering. It's about how they can come together as a group and come up with these solutions and work together. So a lot of really great learning opportunities for that Robo Bowl, and it was our 7th annual Robo Bowl, which is very exciting. Okay, so, Mr. Superintendent.
I just want to comment on two things. One is to our student board member at Carrillo. You mentioned you received a 6-year clear WASC review. That's the highest review any high school can get in the nation and in the Western Association. And we're getting our reviews back, and Millikan High School also got it. So it goes to the equity issue that wherever you go in this district, you're going to get. So you guys should be very, very proud. That is unbelievable. And the other one is, when you see George Sy in the middle school office, please tell him thank you. He's amazing. He puts on that roboball with his team, and he goes way above and beyond, because that's not his number one job. His number one job is working with Dr. Camarino. But it's amazing what he and his team have done for our young people. So
He used to be my resident director at UCLA when I was a student there.
That's right.
I know George.
Wow. It's a small world. And I thought that was just Long Beach. Okay, so announcements?
Just a quick comment on the Science and Engineering Fair coming up on Saturday at Cabrillo. It's going to be a small addition, modification to this year's event. Bob Barbosa, who some of you know, is going to be doing a brief presentation at the event, talking about the new science standards. Now, if some of you who were part of here for the First Lady's visit from Cape Verde, Africa, Bob spoke at that event and basically outlined some of those initiatives. So he's going to be doing that again this Saturday. And just basically, if we can recall, part of his work with our students up at CAMS and now at McBride, he worked with a group of students there in basically advancing some of the concepts of science and engineering and so forth. And out of those 10 students, who were a very diverse group of students, those students now had the skills and a resume to go to any college or university in this nation. He's doing that right now up at McBride. I asked Bob to come so people would know who you were. So Bob, stand up for a minute. Bob, thank you so much. Again, Bob will be speaking at the Science and Engineering Fair on Saturday, just talking about some of the new science standards. Bob, thank you for coming. And 2 Poly students that you gave me this information. Awarded National Merit Scholarships. This is from Diana. 2 students from Long Beach Poly High School have received a competitive national scholarship this year. Poly seniors Aaron Shin and Karis White, who both wanted to go into medical fields, were among the 2,500 winners of the annual National Merit Scholarship Competition. The National Merit Scholarship Corporation announced the recipients Tuesday. Shin wants to go into a career in neurosurgery, according to a statement from the Scholarship Corporation. White also wants to go into the medical field in some capacity. They will both receive $2,500. This year, more than 1.6 million students entered the competition, which required taking the nonprofit's qualifying test. The corporation used the results of that test and the students' preliminary SAT scores to winnow them to more than 15,000 finalists nationwide. The nonprofit then looked at each finalist's academic record, contributions, or leadership in school and community, an essay, and a recommendation by a high school official to select the winner. So again, congratulations to our 2 students from Poly for winning the National Merit Scholarship Award. Thank you.
Great. Ms. Kerr.
Yes, it's one of my favorite weeks here in Long Beach. It's Pride Week here in Long Beach. And so I just wanted to remind everybody that the Teen Pride event is happening Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. The Family Fun Zone and the Senior Fun Zone are 11 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, and the Pride Parade kicks off on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. along Ocean Boulevard. And also this morning at Harvey Milk Park was rededicated. The city's been doing some tremendous improvements, and one of the things about Harvey Milk Park is it was created to be a space, a conversation space, and a space to say what you need to say in honor of Harvey Milk. So there's a soapbox and everything, there's a stage, but the I-Team in Long Beach came up with, they called it augmented reality. And so there's an app that you can download when you go and you wave your phone over the soapbox, and then Harvey Milk appears and gives a speech. And you turn, and then there's a chalkboard with newspaper clippings about LGBTQ history. And when you turn to the wall of that is dedicated to local leaders of the LGBTQ community, it gives you a little bio on work that local people have done to advance the LGBT community, not just regionally, but locally as well. So I highly recommend you head down there with your phone and get the free app. And do a little research on the folks who have been making a difference. And this morning, Dr. Angela Bowen, Mr. Tim Patton, and Sabrina were added to that wall of fame and good work. So also wanted to call attention to a new resource, or a resource that's probably been in our libraries, but the updated version. We understand that not all of our kids who identify as LGBTQ or questioning have the opportunity to talk with folks for various reasons. And so having resources in our libraries and on our school sites for them to be able to feel supported and empowered and have questions answered is really important. So look for that in our middle school and high school libraries. And I know that we have a lot of GSAs on campus, our Gender Sexuality Alliance clubs, and I would just highly recommend and highly encourage all of our principals, especially if you have staff members who are willing to host clubs and students in that work, that we make sure that every opportunity is presented at every school for students to be able to do that. So I highly encourage you to come enjoy Pride in the city of Long Beach this weekend.
And is it true that you're the Grand Marshal for the parade on Sunday? Is that true?
You beat me. I was going to read a whole thing here.
Oh, there you go.
President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can we make an announcement on that behalf? We are honored to have one of our school board members be Grand Marshal for as the Littlefield Community Bridge Building Award. Thank you, board member Kerr, for your lifelong advocacy on behalf of our LGBTQ plus students and communities. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I was going to read a statement, but you beat me to the gun there, Madam President.
Okay, so any other announcements? And we are very proud of that. We are very proud of that. I think we first joined the parade about 3 years ago. Was it 4 years ago?
Might be 5.
5? Holy cow. Anyhow, I'm very proud of our involvement, that we are inclusive, and that's another way that we are inclusive.
Okay, because it isn't just about me. So I'm honored and humbled to be chosen by the Pride Committee to be one of the Grand Marshals, especially as a straight ally and community bridge builder. I couldn't be more proud of the work that I've done personally and in other organizations, but the work that this district does under the leadership of Dr. Tiffany Brown is unmatched. And we need to be very proud and realize that I am honored for the work that I get to do in multiple places, but the work that this district does really does have some of the best in the world advocating for our kids and for our families. So Dr. Brown, thank you for the leadership that you provide for all of us in this district, from staff members to teachers to board members, and anyone who will listen. So your advocacy is noticed and appreciated and makes a huge difference for our kids and families. So thank you.
Well, that was a great addition, because we are very lucky to have the people that we have. So thank you. Any further announcements? Sorry? No, Yep. Okay, how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, they're a little anxious. Thank you for coming.